So I was just listening to Cinnamon in My Teeth. Well, you guessed it right. Cinnamon Girl by Lana Del Rey. And today, the whole vibe, today's day, it's Sunday today, by the way. And it feels very 2016 vibe. And it's hot. It's not like very hot. It's the cloudy hot today, and my room is very hot, and I cannot even turn on the cooler because then the audio quality will be bad. But yeah, overall, it's very peaceful and quiet and nice today. And this song, Cinnamon Girl by Lana Del Rey, it just fits the whole, vibe of today. And while listening to her, it just hit me how her entire brand, her whole world, it is built around this soft sadness, longing, decay, love that hurts a little. And honestly, it's so beautiful, it's comforting. There is this comfort in familiar ache, isn't it? But while all of this is true, one thing also comes in my mind, that what if something artistic and harmless is shaping us deeper than we realize? So, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into Hot Brew Cold Truth. This is your co host Lavanya. Before we dive into today's episode, let's do our little ritual, the hot take of the week. My hot take this week is that we live in one of the most hypocritical times ever. Like, oh my god, on one hand, global leaders they're like talking about world peace, sustainability, and building a better future. And on the other hand, the same leaders, they're starting wars. Their names show up in shady files, and their decisions are the reason millions of people lose their homes, their safety, their lives. And the worst part is, I know all of it, you know all of it, we know about it. But it's the feeling of helplessness that we cannot do anything about that situation. It feels very bad, it feels terrible, and it makes me get angry at myself too sometimes because of this whole feeling. But at the same time, since we are not the type of people who will just complain and move on, we need to reform our thinking. So, at the same time, I also think that if there's one thing that we can do is it is to stay aware and to stay informed and take responsibilities in small ways that we can actually control, because everyone knows not every situation is going to be under our control. Some things they will be out of our control, we won't have any control over them, and it feels bad. Like, personally, I don't like it, but we can always find some small ways in which we can at least take a better decision. That could mean keeping our surroundings clean, not littering, treating people with kindness no matter what work they do. You know, also questioning overconsumption, asking ourselves, do I really need those four new dresses, or can I pause, recycle, and give something away first? Um, Something that I upcycled recently is my jeans pant, which I had actually painted before. I painted it because it had a stain which was not going, and I liked those pants. So I was like, you know what? I'll paint it. I painted the pants. I wore it only once, never wore it again. Am I going to let that pant go in waste? No, of course not. So what did I do? Well, I turned that jeans pant into a bag. Yeah, I made a jeans bag. And whatever crochet material that I had made before, and the patches and everything, I attached it to the bag for decoration, and now that bag, it looks so cute and it feels so me. Like, it's not basic or aesthetic, like, minimalist vibes, but it's very me. It's artistic and it's, how do I explain it? It's very all over the place in a good way, and I just love it. It is a reflection of my chaos, and of course, I love it. I'm going to use it. I use it actually. I've taken it to college 2 times when I did not have many things to carry in my bag. Especially, I cannot put my laptop in it because I did all the sewing by my hand. So there are chances that it might, the sewing, the stitches might open up. So yeah, but this is my trial one. The next that I will make it even more better with precision and proper cuttings. And it makes me feel good. Okay, well, I wanted a bag anyways. And instead of buying a new one, I just upcycle something. And I know somehow that is going to be good for the nature because jeans, they harm the nature the most. My brother was telling me about it. He watched a video on it. My brother, he's very informative. He keeps on telling me new things. So, yes, jeans. I'm not going to let any of my jeans go to waste just like that. And also, there is this new thing. I want to make that too. I just need jeans, old jeans. All my old jeans are at my home. So, what we can do is we can put jeans in a frame, and it's the jeans pocket, okay? And you can search it, you'll get an idea about what I'm saying. You have to do that, and then you can, put your lip balm on it and keychains, vagara. Just search it on Pinterest, you'll get an idea about what I'm saying, and that is also very cool. So I am going to try that. Also, it's just that participating in conversations like that, that make us reflect, it just feels so good instead of escaping real conversations. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do nowadays, to talk about the real things, to do the boring stuff like watching news, which is not my first, it doesn't come naturally to me, but I want to stay informed. And I'm trying to watch videos about the current situation, the current affairs, so that I can stay informed. And the other day, a person said this to me, and I took it as a compliment, and it made me feel good. Okay, the person said this. So the person is like, I think I would have to talk about politics with you, to have a convo with you, like to start up a good conversation. I think I'll have to talk about politics with you. Personally, it felt good because that is a sign that I'm doing something right, and this is a compliment for me because the higher version of me, or the person that I want to become, she is informed. She knows about the current affairs. She knows about politics. She doesn't, you know, um, let those girls don't read politics or they don't talk about politics stereotype. I don't want to be that person. And I'm happy someone said that. So, yeah, I guess that just motivated me to listen to news more, to watch videos like that, informative videos. And that brings me to today's episode. Okay, this was just me yapping and it was a total segue. That was my hot take, and then I just talk talked many other things. Now, today's episode that we are going to talk about is why being sad became aesthetic, and why it's hurting us, right? Now, first of all, while researching for this episode, I was reading this book called The Science of Sadness by David Huron. And what I really found interesting is that in that book, they did not say that sadness is a weakness, or you should, stop being sad, or sadness is the root of all the problems. No, instead, the whole psychology in that book, it was indicating that sadness isn't actually the enemy that we think it is, and instead, it is not a weak emotion that needs to be avoided at all cost, but it exists because it served a purpose. It helps humans survive. For example, sometimes we feel a quiet type of sadness, right? And I think that type of sadness is the most beautiful one because that makes me reflect, that makes me think deeper. When you're just sitting or you're lying and you're in your thoughts, that type of sadness. Then we have nostalgia, reminiscing the old days. Then we have grief. Grief hurts, but grieving is also a good thing because that helps us get closer to other people, and at the same time, it also makes us feel the importance of the person that you're grieving for. There is lots of self improvement, self reflection that comes along with being sad, which is very important. And that type of sadness, how is it going to destroy us? No, it cannot. But sadness, it was meant to be a feeling, you know it was meant for us to process our life, not become our entire identity. But that's what's happening nowadays. Being sad, it is seen as a cool thing. Being depressed is seen as a good thing. I have experienced this myself. um People say that they are depressed even though they are not, just because it makes them feel that they are relatable. And I just personally think it's really bad and we shouldn't use such words. Why? Because there are people who are actually going through depression and who are actually having a hard time. And someone really close to me is kind of going through something like that. And it just makes me realize that it is almost insulting to those people who are suffering right now, right? It just suggests one thing, that for mostly, I guess, for girls and teenage boys, sadness, somewhere along the way, sadness, it stopped being something we felt and it slowly became something we performed. Like, let that sink in. When did it happen that people saw sadness was something that has to be performed, and how did it become something that was relatable, that was cool? I don't think we're supposed to do that. And by performing, I mean very little things, okay? Like those soft lightings, sad playlist, romantic suffering, which is very Lana Del Rey, Billie Eilish, Gracie Abrams coded. And at the same time, people saw that being deep means constantly broken, which is such a bad, mindset. And I guess that's where all of the problem is like beginning. That's the main problem Because social validation, there is social validation around emotional fragility, right? People think that being sad, being depressed, or complaining about life, or continuously complaining about something, it is going to give you social validation. It is going to make you fit in. Yeah, actually, yes, that will help you fit in. But I don't think that's a good way to fit into the society. Um, and I'm not blaming anyone or anything. I just think that I'm the right person to talk this about this because I used to be one of them. When there was a time when I preferred looking sad, feeling lifeless, and staying in that space instead of actually putting the effort to be happy. A few years ago, that was totally me. And just thinking about it, it's so weird because I cannot imagine myself being that person at this point of my life because no, it's tiring. I would not do it. It is uncomfortable to even think about, right? And I know that it did way more harm than any good. That sadness was not good for me. It just made me more ungrateful. And yeah, it just put me into spiraling, which, how is it going to do any good to us, right? And again, everything stems for some type of reason. For me it was, I thought, yes, being sad, complaining, it's going to help me fit in. And also, I think I was too caught up in my own problems. I was self pitying myself, which is not at all good. And I have learned my lesson, and I'm happy about it. That's what sadness does to you. Curated sadness, I'm saying, not actual sadness. Now, you might think, where does all of this actually come from? Like, what is the starting point of this? I'm not saying there's anything, I don't think there is any proper starting point for this. But as Gen Zs, I think one of the way most of the people try to cope with their sadness is by listening to music. And I personally think that art is a form of self expression, and it doesn't have to be bright and sunshine and rainbows all the time, obviously. But it can also be, reflective, melancholic, uncomfortable, because it takes effort to sit with things that we are scared to admit. That is how we got some of our favorite artists, the people who embody the sad girl aesthetic beautifully. And listen, there is nothing wrong with listening to sad music at 3 a.m. because you miss someone, because sometimes that's exactly what helps you move on the next day. The feeling of belonging, comfort, it's so real, and I prefer it myself too. It just feels good. But where everything goes wrong, when you replay the same thing in your head again and again. You keep on mulling over the same person, the same situation. You obsess over it. Not because it's helping, but just because it makes you feel something, right? You People do that. I've done it too. And when you do that for too long, it becomes dangerous. Why? Now you might say, how is it going to be dangerous? Like, you know what? I will change it. I won't be doing that again. But if you've been, mulling, if you have that mindset, or if you are the type of person who complains about the same problem again and again, who mulls over small little things and then obsess over that problem for a long, long, long time and pity yourself. And you've been doing this for years now. Well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but it is going to take time. You know why? Because our brain, it is very simple. It is almost genius. It is very adaptable, right? So there is something called neuroplasticity. If you have heard the word reframing, rewiring the brain, then I'm sure you've heard the neuroplasticity word, or if you are in bio field, then you know it. So what it basically means is that your brain, it rewires itself based on what you repeat. So neuroplasticity, it's like a surgery. It's like you're doing plastic surgery but of your neurons. So how does this work? The emotions that you sit in the longest, and the thoughts that you revisit the most, those become the default pathways in your brain. So for example, if something small happens to you and you let yourself spiral, you feel deeply, you mull over it, you cry over it, and stay sad longer than necessary. And you do it every time. Every time something happens, you just like stick on that feeling of sadness. You don't move on, and you just keep on talking about the same thing again, blaming someone or blaming the situation again and again. Then your brain is like, okay, I see. I think this is the new way of thinking that I need to do. So, what your brain will do, it will create default pathways in your brain. So, the next time something even small happens, for example, someone doesn't give you a chocolate, well, guess what? You will be spiraling, you will be overthinking, you will be grieving, you'll be doing too much, you'll be overreacting to that situation because now your brain has made that default pathway. So, and what happens next? Your brain, it will be like, okay, yeah, that's how we respond to life, right? So, just accept it. And over time, this sadness, it will stop being a reaction and then it will start becoming a habit of yours because your brain will get stronger and stronger. Those pathways, they will get stronger and they will become more concrete. And then one day you'll wake up and you realize you are just a gloomy person. And one day you will feel heavy all the time, even when nothing is wrong. And that's how I think people slip into depression without even understanding why. Because, you know, your brain has created that pattern, that emotional pattern, and now it's going to follow it. And then suddenly you'll have to take pills for small, small things. That will also give the millennials and our parents, this just gives them a chance to say, ha, this generation is so weak. And honestly, I think they're about 30% right. It's just that we are not weak, we are just easily influenced, and we have romanticized the wrong things. We took emotional shortcuts, and we are just going to pay for it, right? Now, let's talk about one of the sad girl myth that is very famous, which is that sad girls, they are seen as more mature, more wise, more philosophical. Why? Because they think sadness makes you more deep. Yes, it does, but when you reflect over it. And then happy girls, they are seen as naive, childish, surface level, and that belief is toxic. And I think that belief is so stupid because choosing sadness, it is easier. Choosing comfort is easier. Choosing something that, you know, gets you get that dopamine hit in the moment, it is easier. But you know what's actually hard? Choosing peace over drama. Cutting off those energy vampires, having those difficult conversations, rewiring your brain so that your brain starts to notice the small good things, and staying happy when life gives you reasons not to. That is hard, but it is incredibly rewarding. And at this stage of my life, I still get sad. Like today, I'm not sad, I'm just feeling very tired. But I know whenever I am sad, my brain, it takes me for like max to max an hour, depending on why I am sad. And then my brain automatically, I start feeling good. My brain, it finds things that will make me look for the light, that will make me feel good. It will start noticing the small thing, it will find reasons to be grateful. And that took me lots of time and lots of years, lots of work, because life, it still sucks sometimes, right? It cannot be sunshine, rainbows all the time. But instead of staying broken, I have decided I am going to reflect. I have decided I will pause. I have decided I will ask myself, how do I move forward from here? Because I don't want to be stuck in this situation, right? So, yes, that's all about sadness. And that works. That has worked for me. And I hope it works for you too. And that's why, instead of just giving you gyan about sadness, aesthetic, where it came from, I have also created this practical takeaways, the homework, the exercise that you should do, so that you can also start seeing the light and start to realize that there is nothing as optimistic person or pessimistic person. It's just the way that person chooses to react. So if the person chooses to react in a good way, react in a way that is more reflective, that person becomes optimistic. The person who sees light even in the darkness, who tries to find light, that becomes an optimistic person. And then the pessimistic person is the one who does the opposite of it. But just because someone has called yours, many people have called you pessimistic, that doesn't mean that it is your entire personality. You can still improve yourself and react to any situation in a more mature way. And I'm going to help you do this. So I have thought of these three simple things that you can do. First one is to feel. So next time, whenever you feel sad or you feel tired with life and you're just like done with everything that's happening around you, I would say feel the emotion. Feel the emotion without a soundtrack though. Before you choose to play sad, before you choose to play sad music or your sad playlist or scroll through Instagram to ignore the sadness, I would suggest, how about we sit in the emotion in silence for just like 2 minutes, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, and just feel what we are, what we are feeling, and let our feelings speak to us without any aesthetic filters, because sadness can be ugly, it doesn't have to be aesthetic, and we just need to accept it. Second, Ask why and not why me. This is a big thing because every time, anytime something happens, we have this tendency to ask, ये मेरे साथ ही क्यों हो रहा है? Which is wrong. Because the more you will say that, the more deeper you'll get into that blaming game wala spiral, which is not good. Instead, how about we ask ourselves, why did this happen? What exactly triggered this? Why am I feeling this way? Why did I get sad over this situation? Why exactly am I feeling triggered? Is it just the situation or is it an old wound which is reacting again? Ask yourself more of why without the me, and I guess you'll be good. Third is balance it intentionally. One example that I'll give is you are sad and you're not feeling good. You tried many things, you're still not feeling good. Guess what? Before you are sleeping, just name one thing you are grateful for right now, even if it is small. Let yourself think about one thing you're grateful for, or let yourself think about your happy place. You might be thinking, what is happy place? Happy place is the scenario, or it's the situation, or it is our fantasy, our happy place. For example, my happy place, there are many, okay? I have many happy places, but one of the happy place that I want to imagine about and feel good and come out of the sad mood will be to think about Goa, to imagine myself on the scooter, in those roads, on the beach. I love Goa. I have been to Goa many times with my family, and that is my happy place. So before sleeping, imagine, think about your happy place intentionally. Balance that sadness that you're feeling right now with a little bit of happiness, a little bit of delulu, because there is nothing wrong in that. You know, train your brain to hold both the truth and the softness too. And yeah, that's all for today. I'm sorry if I sound a bit dull or I don't know. I'm just feeling a bit tired, I guess, or it's just the mood maybe. This month has been a bit weird on me, or we can say many things have happened, medical emergencies in my family, which has had an impact on me. And yes, I was sad too. I was going through a phase. But even then, I think after coming back to my hostel, after coming back to my old routine, I was able to feel normal. And even when all of this was happening, I was able to stay strong because even then my brain was, it kept on thinking about the good things that are happening in the moment. And one of the things that I'm grateful for after all of this happened was that I'm really happy that the storm has passed, and um, I'm very grateful to the doctors, and at the same time I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful that everything turned out well at the end of the day, and I'm happy that in this 1 week when I was staying at my mama's house, I'm happy that I was able to spend time with my brother, my cousin sister, and my cousin brother. We watched movies, we did this fun little crafty things, which I would have not done in normal situation because I don't live there for like a week, or even if I do, I'm always with my mom. So this experience was different, and I think it brought us closer as family, and I'm really happy about that. And I think the only reason why I'm also able to think about the good things that happened while I was there is because I am trying to rewire my brain too, and I have done the work, so it's easy. And I have realized that sadness, it is not evil, but turning it into an identity can obviously quietly ruin your life. And I have also learned my lesson. So I hope that you have some good takeaways from this podcast episode. Take care of your mind, be gentle, but be aware. In the next episode, we are shifting gears a little bit from emotional systems to systems that control our real lives in ways we don't fully understand yet. Until then, sip something warm, sit with your thoughts honestly, and don't be afraid of the cold truths.